What's going on, everybody? Doc, Average Gamer Guys, back in again. Some more Escape from Tarkov content. And trying out something a little new on the channel that I thought would be an interesting thing to do with some regularity is just to talk about the state of Tarkov, kind of where we're at. We can think of this maybe as a podcast of sorts. I will see if some other folks at some point maybe want to join me to go through this, but I thought this would be good now that we're a couple of weeks into the wipe for 12-12. I thought I'd share my thoughts just on the progress of the game. I'm going to continue to do that over the course of our different series, but I thought this would be a pretty neat, interesting little idea to try out, especially as the game has continued to change, and we've seen a ton of further updates after the wipe with everything going on. So I think it's going to continue to get tweaked over the next couple of months, as we would expect, but I think we're going to see some pretty significant stuff here continue to change and get adjusted. So I thought it'd be an interesting place just to share some thoughts, maybe have a conversation a little bit, and just run through kind of where I'm at, as well as do a little bit of updates as well for everything that's been going on. So buckle in. Hopefully this is enjoyable. Try to keep these relatively short, but want to share a couple of things. And if you end up liking this, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know certainly your thoughts, any reflections or any feedback on what I cover. But also if you like this on a regular basis and you think this is a pretty cool thing to do, let me know. Hopefully it's received well. Let's jump into it. Okay, so on the positive side, first things first, I just want to spend some time talking about, I am really enjoying Wipe 12-12. I'm going to share just really quickly as of the recording of this, how I'm sitting. 268 raids in, 51% survival rate. I fluctuate between a 50 and a 55. That's pretty standard for me as far as just where I like to go. This is not my longest win streak. My longest win streak, I believe, is 10. But I did have a 9 survive in a row recently that really boosted me up and has allowed me to get quite a bit done. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm happy with my KD, but we've put in some good time. And we are exactly 3 weeks as of the start of the wipe. So really cool. A whole lot has gone on here. Skills-wise, I'm sitting 16 and 17 endurance and strength. Just about to crack 41. I actually like the progression. I said this last wipe. I've liked the endurance and strength progression. Now you could certainly cheese this. I did just get, from a hideout perspective, a couple of things done that are going to help. I got the library done, and I'm considering and looking at actually installing the air filtering unit. So I really only have air filtering unit and solar panels to get done in the hideout, but I've liked this progression. I've made some good moves, and things feel like they flow just really well up until this point, at least in my perspective. So that's kind of where we're sitting, like I said. And just to give a little bit of groundwork, like I said, I only need solar panels and air filtering unit here. Everything else is boosted up. I do need Bitcoin farm level 3. I actually just installed level 2, so pretty happy with that, and sitting at a pretty good spot, 3 million. Quite a bit of tasks to go. I have a lot of lighthouse to do. I've been saving all of those. Other than that, we're working through pretty well on the majority of our tasks. There's not a whole lot holding us back at this point, so I'm pretty happy with that. But with all those things being said, I've really enjoyed 12-12. Hopefully you have. Hopefully you've had a good experience. I like a lot of the changes. Flea market changes I've been a big fan of for the most part. Inertia is just, it was a little rough at first, but it has really smoothed out, and I think fights are really interesting now. People are still over peaking. It's interesting. And I think it's certainly slowed the playstyle of the game down a little bit. I have not gotten hard pushed by a lot of people in many fights. I have still a few times, but most cases it's holding an angle or a good flank has resulted in a really solid kill. So I'm very happy with that. I like that style of play. I can get down with the W key every once in a while, but I do like a little bit more slow tactical play, and it's been really interesting. VoIP has gone and done an interesting thing. It started off way up here. Everybody was VoIPing, everybody was chatting. I watched the Veritas and Jesse Kazam podcast. And it was interesting. They made a really cool point about the fact that VoIP, at the initial outset, everybody was just trying to do their simple quests. The things where you pick up stuff and you get out of a raid. Now it's into the wipe far enough that people have progressed to kills, whether that be scav kills, but a lot of player kills with specific types of gear. And the VoIP interactions on the PMC side have certainly gone down. Airdrops, the recent change for those, boosted those up a bit. I think people were excited to find those, but I have been getting in less PMC to PMC VoIP interactions. The PMC to scav interactions are still at an all-time high. My scav runs while betrayals are still happening. I think VoIP has really helped that, and there has been a ton more coordination between PScav and PMCs with the introduction of VoIP. They bumped up the timer to 20 seconds. I thought that was really smart, and VoIP has just been a lot of fun. Honestly, I've had virtually zero bad interactions. I had one, but the guy I ended up killing two, I think, of the 3-man, and then he ended up killing me, and he was pretty proud of himself for that, even though he was the only remaining survivor on the squad. So other than that, it's been really fun, and I have certainly enjoyed it, and hopefully you have. So those are the big positives. Wipe 1212 has been awesome. Lighthouse is really cool. Needs some optimization. There's a couple of things I've talked about previously, and I'll talk about in a couple of different episodes that we'll spend some time on as far as fixes. But overall, a great map, really cool. I have not played it a ton, transparently. I'm kind of waiting. I want to get geared up. I want to have a lot of money because I feel like it's a map I'm going to die a lot on, and that's okay. I just want to be in a good position to allow that to happen before we dive in. I also just want to get a ton of quests going so we can do a whole ton of stuff at once. I think that's going to be really beneficial. But all the new guns, we could talk about the grenades. Everything that's been added, I've been a big fan of. Sloth and I actually had a conversation. I would like to see a little bit more diversity. We've gotten some more armored rigs in, different materials and certain things like that, different setups as far as pouches, which is all good and well. I would like to see a better range of tiering of armor, not 1 through 6, because that's what we have now, but inside class 4, give us a better range of class 4 armors. Some things on the lower durability side, what we traditionally refer to as like the rat rigs, which is like your 6B, these guys right here, you know, your 6B5s. This one is a really common one, 6B3. I love this armored rig. 40 armor points, feels really good at 55k. Now granted, there are other armors in here in this subset that can pick up, but we got these two new armored rigs here, and besides the pouch configuration, I'm not sure why you would pick one or these over this. It is better space wise, but honestly there's no other real gains, and what we were talking about is it'd be nice to see a little bit more of a balancing of the rigs. Maybe decrease some armor points on some others, increase on a few, and just have something in between where if I pick this up, I'm excited to pick it up because maybe it's a 55 or a 50 armor point rig instead of a 40 or 45, whatever it ends up being. I think it's 45. So I would just like that because it just feels like we're getting a lot of similar things with not enough difference that it makes a difference. Now we can talk about certainly the materials. You know, one's aluminum. What is this one? This was the polyweight ethylene. So like there is a difference, but again, this is 40 armor points, right? And obviously it has a different subset of pouches, but I would just like to see a little bit more of a difference and just take a relook at all of the armors and say, okay, with everything that we've brought in, where do we want to be on these? So that's one thing I'm looking at as far as an adjustment, but I've really enjoyed and liked everything that they've brought in up to this point. I think it's been really good. With that being said, let's talk about some things that need some work. Probably my biggest complaint right now, and what's actually kept me from playing Lighthouse, is player scav timer. I've gotten in a ton of raids, and I did one on the hardcore, maybe I think my first episode of the hardcore, where I got in and I probably had 25 to 30 minutes left, and a 2-man player scav team had already spawned in. Now I understand the map is really big. There are a ton of extracts. It's very similar to Interchange in the fact that you can go either side of the map and basically extract. So it doesn't matter where you spawn, you have to choose your path. But if you're smart with it, you can get in, grab some loot, and get out. Lighthouse is perfectly set up that way, and I love that. Player scav timer needs to be adjusted. That is the one thing that's kept me away from it, because I don't want to get in as a PMC with all of the risk and then have to worry about not only trying to kill rogues and other players, which there are a lot of both, also then going into and having to worry about player scavs. You can make the argument I could play at night. Certainly, that comes with its own set of risks, and there are still going to be player scavs that come in at night. I just want more time to operate as a PMC. Give me half the time. Give me a little bit more than half the time. Get in, fight, loot, do what I need to do, fight rogues, and be able to extract or get close to an extraction without having to worry about essentially a swarm of player scavs. I've seen the same thing on Interchange. Interchange was terrible. I don't know if it was last wipe or the wipe before. I can't remember. They're kind of mixing together. They need to be adjusted. There needs to be less time. That, 15 or so minutes feels pretty good to allow them to do that. I don't see that issue with a lot of other maps. I haven't played a ton of Reserve this wipe either. But it doesn't feel even as bad for them as it had been in the past. So I'm just asking, we need to take a look at scav timers. Just make sure there is a cap and a limit to when they can get in there. And I think that would make for a pretty enjoyable experience. And again, still give them the time to go. If you've got 15 minutes left in a raid, that is plenty of time to go. Find some loot, get in some engagements, take a path, and get out. The scav is not intended to allow you to do a full raid, get a whole bunch of gear, fight everybody on the map, and then leave. It's to scavenge. It's to go in and scavenge what is left, or pick up the things that have been left behind by people killing other people, or trading, or whatever the case, rogues taking care of some PMCs on Lighthouse specifically, and then get out. And that's what it should be. And right now, in a few maps, doesn't quite feel like that. As far as additional adjustments, the drops event is going on currently as of the recording of this, and I know there has been a ton of negative feedback and difficulties with the game. They instituted a queue. It's not a permanent solution, and it can't be, because a lot of the conversation is, well, why should I have to wait so long to get into the game? BSG is not intended to make it that way. There's a podcast that I've still have not had a chance to listen to, and Nikita came on and talked about. There's just a lot going on the back end that they are working through. Obviously, the game is hugely popular right now, which is great. That is great for the game overall. That is great for the player base if we understand the implications of that. And you can be on the flip side, and I understand this argument where there should be some infrastructure, there should be some things. This isn't new. That's the one argument that I do agree with. This is not a new problem. They have seen this with past wipes that have gone really, really well, and the game has gotten really hyped up. They have struggled with the load. A lot of games do. They're working on it. I can appreciate that. The queue is, in my opinion, it's not great, but I would rather have a short wait time. I need to caveat this here. I'd rather have a short wait time in order to get it into what feels like more of a stable game than to wait a long time or to not wait at all and come in really buggy. The problem I have is that is like a very finite and perfect solution, and right now it is not quite there. I will say I jump between 3 accounts. I have a hardcore account, I have my standard account that I run the Escape series on, and then I have my main account. It makes it pretty difficult for me specifically just to move between those if I need to wait 20 to 30 to 40 minutes to get loaded in. I think today I tried to jump into my my hardcore account, do some recording, and it took me probably about 30 minutes to get in. Now, I might have been at a peak time when a lot of players were getting in. There might have been some server issues going on as well. I have waited certainly less. I'm fine with a couple minute wait time. I'm fine with 3, 4, 5 minute wait time to get in and just have the game be smooth and everything go well. I will say that I've had an interaction or two as this queue's been going where that has been the case. You get in, everything feels really smooth. There's no back-end issues with moving items and those kinds of things. The flip side, though, is I've also had the opposite, where I've waited a long time, have a back-end error, have an error inside the game force closes for whatever reason, and then you're back in and waiting on the queue. So my hope is I'm going to stay positive. I'm okay with a queue. I would certainly love to hear some comments down below what you think. As long as it's reasonable and it doesn't take too long to get into the game. I'm okay with getting into the game and it even being a little bit buggy, with the expectation that at some point I'm going to get kicked back out and have to roll back into that. And I would rather wait 5 minutes twice than 30 minutes for that same thing to then happen and then get frustrated. So hopefully they're able to fix it. I know they're desperately working on it. A huge interest for the game, which again is awesome. I don't think people, talk about the drops. This is not related to drops. It is not. It's just people excited to get into the game. A lot of people have this game that play it for a little bit and then don't play it. Those people are coming back. We should all understand that 12-12, there's been so much change and so much hype around this that it's reasonable that these things are happening. It's unfortunate, and again, there are some other discussions to have as far as fixes for the future. But what I hope people will do is just take it with a grain of salt, give them some time to figure those things out, and hopefully we get to a better place. And hopefully, again, the queue, I would like to see the queue go away eventually. But again, I am in the camp of I'll wait a few minutes to load into the game if that's what it takes to have a good experience, not have any back-end issues, not have any raid loading issues, and be able to have the game flow as it normally needs to be. With that being said, we'll see if we get there. That's probably the biggest thing on a lot of people's minds. Talking Twitch drops just very quickly. Hopefully you had a chance to support some streamers. As of probably when this goes live on January 8th, which is Saturday, I will actually be live over on Twitch. So I'm going to put a quick plug in here. I'm going to be live most of the day. Drops are for everybody. So if you want to come support me, support the channel, that would be fantastic. I would love that. At some point, we'll flow across where you can do that. Links in the description as well. But hopefully you've had some chance to check out some streamers. I love BSG that they do this. You can argue about the drops all day. I think the drops have been perfect for where we are in the wipe. If everybody's getting meta guns and crazy keys and a whole bunch of RGO grenades, probably not going to have a very good time. We saw that issue with the previous kind of Christmas gift that we got. And so I like that the drops have been barter related, things that are helpful for the hideout that are somewhat difficult to find sometimes. The rare drops are not common drops are not good, and they shouldn't be because they're common drops, but hopefully you get a chance to sell them. And again, at the end of the day, I just appreciate that. From a content creation standpoint, I appreciate that that BSG is doing that, help support streamers, and just help promote and hype the game. I think that's really cool. So hopefully you've gotten some good drops if you've had a chance to check in on those. And worst comes to worst, hopefully you found a streamer or two, I know I did, that were pretty enjoyable to watch, and anticipate hopping back into their streams and supporting them a little bit more as time goes on. If you didn't like the drops, I'm sorry. Less free stuff for you. They could just not do it. I guess that's where I'm coming from. They could just not do that, and we could be in a position where you don't get anything, and you've got to grind for everything like you're going to have to anyways. So I guess having something is a little bit better than nothing. Last thing I think I just want to focus on is just where are we going from here, and what other adjustments do I hope we see? Queue time, obviously. Again, PMC timer or Scav timer are the two biggest things on my mind. The other thing that was a big conversation lately is, at least for me, is global amounts for things. Now, I have Jaeger level 4. This is my biggest gripe here because I'm currently trying to do setup. AP-20s, my personal favorite as far as a shotgun round. Everybody has their differences. 8.5 is great if you want to use it, but I love AP-20s. Gets through armor. If you hit your shots, you're dropping people. Here's the problem that I have. We have been limited for what we can do on the flea market. Essentially gone pretty close to a civilian flea market, which I think is great. Not having a ton of top tier armors and helmets and ammos everywhere, I have no problems with for the most part. With that being said, they need to take a look at, and very, very specifically take a look at, going back to not only player limits, but how they're doing their global limits for some of these items. The frustration for me is if I don't time this, and if I don't hit this exactly 30 minutes from now to be able to buy this AP-20, I will not be able to buy it. I was playing all day yesterday on stream and a couple other places. I was not able to get this at all because my timing just never matched up from when I was in raid. This is gone. AP-20s are probably gone within the first 5 to 10 minutes of this trade being reset. You can say some similar things about some of the difficult items to get. Black key card has always been one that's been talked about, but it is extremely limited quantity, and I'm okay with that because it is an extremely rare item. When it comes to ammos, now the fact that we don't have a ton of opportunities to buy ammos or supplement our ammo on the flea market because you can't buy it, things like this, like AP, 55A1, even your M80s and your M62s, while you don't want those to be super available, the argument I would make here for things like this, AP rounds, as well as for Jaeger with these AP20s, is I can buy 40 rounds. That is one raid's worth of ammo. I'm going to put 8 rounds in my MP153. I'm going to keep 11 or 12 in my pocket. I'm going to put 20 into my secure container. I get into one engagement, I probably burn close to half that ammo if I'm a bad shot, which I am. And if I end up dying, I've got 20 rounds left. 20 rounds is enough to go run a raid, but might not get me through the raid considering I have to kill some scavs. And if I get into 1 or 2 PMC interactions, that ammo is gone. So give me the opportunity at least to buy my 40 rounds per reset. I think Jaeger resets every hour and a half or so. That's my argument for these. And I think they need to do it broad sweep for a ton of different ammos. They need to change this, maybe not to a lot like some of these are where the global you can buy them all the time, but allow me to get my 40. Allow players that have unlocked this and made it through the quest progression to be able to get this, because it is locked behind a quest and is locked behind Jaeger level 4. Which is pretty difficult to get to in and of itself. So that's just my comments. I know this has been talked about a little bit on some other forums as well, and I certainly do hope. Same thing with SNB. Great ammo. Allow me to buy some of this. You know what I mean? I think this is fine being kind of the mid-tier ammo that's out there. That and LPS GZH are totally fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with mid-tier ammos being the norm, being the quote-unquote meta. As long as we have some opportunities to get it, and again, aren't fighting essentially bots or other people trying to get into this. Let me buy my set amounts, have my set amounts. Now that we can't get some of this stuff on the flea, SMB you can. That's a bad example. But I think that is something that needs to be tweaked, and hopefully is moving forward. So a little bit longer than I intended. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And just some of my thoughts, some of my discussions, some of the things I've been thinking about and chatting with some folks about, both in the comments over on Twitch with Sloth and some other folks, and figured I would share those. Let me know down below. You got any feedback, thoughts, concerns, issues, gripes, bitches, complaints, whatever you got for 12/12 so far. What have you enjoyed? Hopefully you had a good holiday. Happy New Year to everybody. And look forward to, again, if you enjoyed something like this, we can look to extend them, maybe get Sloth on here and chat with him a little bit about it. Yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this. I'd like to keep doing this because I think this is pretty cool as far as an update standpoint. I think in the future we'll have some other clips, maybe some fun raids or something going on in the background as we chat. But other than that, let's talk Tarkov. Hopefully we'll be back for episode 2. I've been Doc, Average Gamer guys. As always, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for all the support in 2021. Look forward to more support in 2022. If you're just finding the channel, subscribe is the best way to be. Thank you so much. It's free. It really does help us. Hoping to get to 10K subs this year on YouTube. That's our 2022 goal. That would be really, really cool. We would love to get there. So help us along the way, and especially if you enjoyed the content, we really do appreciate that. Likes and comments are also really, really great. Great for the algorithm. In addition, I mentioned we are streaming. Come join us on the 8th. For a pretty long day stream if you want to support us over there on Twitch. If not, if you want to just catch us 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, Fridays and Saturdays, and then randomly throughout the week, whenever we can, we're streaming. We're usually playing Escape from Tarkov. So if you are enjoying this game, we'd love to chat with you about it, maybe run some raids, have a good time, do some viewer kits and all that good stuff. And that would be enjoyable. So look forward to seeing you over there. Close it out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next Escape from Tarkov video. Peace.